So every now and again films come out that aren't so bad, but because they're coming off the back of extremely good films or major franchises, these moderate to mediocre films are classed as being downright terrible, and even avoidable. Now granted, some of these films are, but a very few have got a good side, even got a few good things going for them. Some of these films have even started to get a cult following. So we're going to look back at these films, and instead of pointing out the bad stuff like everyone else does, we're going to point out the good stuff. In a new segment I'm calling In Defense of... So in 1999 we finally got a new Star Wars film, 16 years after the last one. Doesn't seem that long between the two films when you think about it, does it? Yes, we got Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. When this film came out, people went nuts. People slept outside cinemas, queued for days, and bought nearly every piece of merchandise they could get their hands on. When the film came out, most of the fans and critics raved about it.
Get enough of it. I want to see it again already.
It was amazing. It was everything I thought it was going to be and more.
Non-stop.
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 I can't wait to see it in 3 hours. I'll be lining up straight in the line again.
A lot of action, a lot of noise. It was cool.
I thought it was fantastic. Yeah, it was really good, must say.
I think it's going to be the hugest thing. The hugest thing.
It wasn't till weeks later when the film's backlash started and fans started to turn on Episode 1. It was little like a disease. It started off as small, then it would get passed on to person, until eventually most people hated the film. Now, grant you, I'm not going to lie and say I don't see the problems in this film. I grant there are quite a few problems in this film. But people tend to forget there are really some good stuff. But before we look at that, let's take a look at the plot. The evil Trade Federation, led by Newt Gunray, is planning to take over the peaceful world of Naboo. Jedi Knights Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi are sent to confront the leaders. But not everything goes to plan. The two Jedis escape and, along with their new Gungan friend Jar Jar Binks, head to Naboo to warn Queen Amidala. But the droids have already started to capture Naboo, and the Queen is not safe there. Eventually, they escape to Tatooine, where they become friends with a young boy known as Anakin Skywalker. Qui-Gon Jinn is curious about the boy's connection to the Force and sees a bright future for him. The group must now find a way of getting to Coruscant to finally solve this trade dispute, but there is someone else hiding in the shadows manipulating events. Are the Sith really extinct? Is the Queen really who she says she is? And what's so special about this young boy from Tatooine? Now, like I said, it's easy to remember the bad things, but what I'm here to do is to defend this film. So let's look at some of the good things, because there are quite a few. The acting for the most part is great in this film. Liam Neeson is very good as Qui-Gon Jinn. Hugh McGregor is really good, though underused as Obi-Wan Kenobi, I feel. Ian McDiarmid is fantastic, returning to his role as Palpatine 16 years later. And Natalie Portman, though not great, does pull off some great scenes. So, yes, okay, so Jake Lloyd was not the best of actors and doesn't have that natural feel to his performance. But what kid does at that age? I mean, look at most child actors today. Decent ones are a dime a dozen. If you can find someone who's got a really good acting chops, it's a rarity. It did not necessitate the bullying and harassment this young man got. That was completely out of line. And that goes for Ahmed Best as well. For his role as Jar Jar Binks. The bullying was disgusting. I've been a Star Wars fan my whole life, and I'm afraid to say some Star Wars fans do make me feel ashamed of being a Star Wars fan. Yes, they are very few and far between, but my God, that was horrific. You have to feel for this young lad whose dream quite literally bit him in the ass. The villains are fantastic in this Star Wars. We've already mentioned McDiarmid, sorry, spoiler, but the character of Darth Maul, played by Ray Park and voiced by Peter Serafinowicz, I hope that's right, this character was so good, he left such a lasting, long impression with fans, and he only had one line of dialogue in the entire film. Producers must have known how good this character was going to be, because he was all over the merchandise for this film. The special effects for the time were revolutionary. Most had never even been done before. Do you know that Jar Jar Binks is one of the first fully CG characters in a live-action film? Think about it. Without Jar Jar, we probably wouldn't have had David Jones in Pirates of the Caribbean, or even Gollum in Lord of the Rings. John Williams returns to score this film. Again, gives us one of the best Star Wars themes in any of the movies, with Duel of the Fates. I mean, my God, what a tune that is. And I remember seeing the music video, and my God, I heard stood on the back of my neck. The orchestration and the choir was just so well done. The action scenes are a lot more fast-paced in this film than I think in any of the other films, and that includes the other two prequels. The story, though slightly hard to follow, does move at quite a brisk pace. The locations are fantastic. That pod racing scene is still one of my favourites. It's a great scene to watch. Obi-Wan Kenobi vs. Darth Maul with Qui-Gon Jinn is also amazing. The stunt work and the choreography in that scene just makes it. And even the bit where Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan split between the two red... red shield things. It's just adds so much tension into that fight scene that is absolutely brilliant. There's just so many really good things in this film. It's a shame it gets such a bad rep. For me personally, I think Attack of the Clones is worse. Don't get me wrong, I think there are good things in that film too, but I don't think there's as many as in A Phantom Menace. So grab your DVD or your Blu-ray, get some popcorn out, whack on The Phantom Menace, and you might be surprised it's not as bad as you fully remember.